Okay, we're back, and what we're going to be doing now is, before we had Matthew, he was our SWAT team specialist, and there was specific areas that he would lubricate on the slides and the areas of what we were dealing with. He just cleaned the gun, as we saw before. What we're going to do is something a little different, because this product has the ability to be a solvent and a lubricant and a dry film lubricant, is that we're going to have our armory specialist here, and he's going to be putting it back together. So and we're going to be spraying the components very lightly upon everything, and so that we can be able to do that. So go right ahead. Just kind of tell us what everything is while you're doing it there.
I'll start with the bolt carrier group, and you want to get the rails on the bottom there. As far as the bolt, I'm going to be generous around the rings, maybe just a little bit on the lugs. Bolt cam pin, and a light coat on the firing pin.
There you go.
A little bit on the charging handle, and that should be it.
Okay. So we'll just kind of, watch it put it back together again. So we don't need to glump it on there. We just put a little bit in there, just a little bit. Okay.
We're all set.
Okay, let's go out, and we're going to go out to the range now.
Alright, we ready?
Okay, everybody, we're here with our armory specialist here, and we're going to do a 300 round test, and we'll just see how we're going to go. This is with the Spartamaxgunoil.
You guys have eyes and ears?
Eyes and ears.
We're good. Now, one thing I noticed, we're done. This is not steaming.
No.
The other one we did, remember that, Bill? It was steaming out of there like it was with using this lube. I'm just telling you. I mean, it's warm. I mean, obviously it's hot here, but it was steaming right through the center of the barrel.
Yeah. It's still hot.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
But I can put my bare hand on it.
Before. So what you're saying is the difference is that there's some manageability to it, a little more.
There is. Yep.
About that plastic.
Yeah. It's just, all right, so we'll let her cool down, and we'll break it down.
All right.
Okay, here we are with that, our armory specialist. All right, we just did 300 rounds. Now, roll it over and show what you did before. You just explain to us, Ed.
Normally after 300 rounds you're going to have a lot of carbon buildup, even kind of splatters out of the ejection port. You'll get a lot on this bottom lip right here, which is only a little bit. Usually my finger's going to be caked in it. These two ports here, you're going to have a lot that spills out of there. And if you look in around the bolt area and the lugs especially, after 300 rounds you're going to have quite a bit of carbon, especially after 300. In the chamber, normally your chamber is going to be black. As you can
A lot
see,
more carbon in there.
A lot more carbon.
Okay, well let's just kind of... Now, what was also interesting, before we shot the rifle, there was a lot of steam coming out, a lot of heat through this central barrel area. And as you said, Ed, it didn't really start heating up until after about 200 rounds, 210, where normally it would heat up around 100 or so.
Right.
Okay, so let's take it apart and see what we did. Now this is still pretty warm here, so this is what we used with the Spartamax here. Now here's a couple things. Now we do see obviously some carbon buildup on there, but the difference is as follows. Now I think we're going to be able to take the rag, or lint-free rag, and see how well it'll do. Wow. What do you think, Ed?
Okay, it's pretty clean.
You don't have to scrape the stuff off like we had to before. So basically through here, this bottom end right here, the bottom end right here, it actually wiped off fairly well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. The bolt. Normally we'd have to like really scrub a lot of that off, wouldn't we?
I think we're still going to have a little bit, but
But the compression rings are manageable. They're still kind of flexing around. They're not really mucked up, are they?
no, I think the big difference here is going to be between the old stuff we were using. You're not going to get that film built up all over it. And when it gets cold, it actually solidifies onto there. There's no buildup around the lugs at all. That could be cleaned with a brush.
Just lightly.
Quickly. Yep.
It's not like a super scrub you got to do.
No.
Okay, and then we have the slide.
The charging handle, usually inside of it, will build up, and that is wiped out.
So normally you have to scrub that.
Normally.
Now, of course, you got the area where the compression tube was.
After 300 rounds, normally you're going to see a lot of buildup right in here and around in here.
Okay.
I don't see that buildup like I normally would.
So obviously there's some, because there was black powder for 300 rounds. We were using the Remington 223s.
Yep, so far everything has wiped right off.
Yeah. So how many rounds could you have probably kept going with this if you had to?
If I had to, I believe this weapon probably would have operated up to 1,000 rounds.
Really? So if this would have been like a machine gun application or more rapid fire with open automatic, it would increase the survivability for that, but this is just obviously the civilian version of the AR.
Right. If you're looking at something along the lines of an M249 or an M240, I believe that your malfunctions caused by excess carbon buildup would be greatly reduced if this is the same result that you would get on that weapon system. And all that carbon inside wiped right out.
Now, and then in the chamber.
In the chamber area, normally we get buildup along the half moon, as it's commonly called.
Okay.
After 300 rounds, there's normally going to be a large buildup in there. That's wiped right out.
But obviously that's carbon. I mean, it's just part of the powder.
It is.
But the lubricant helped protect the surface, so it was able to have some manageability with it.
It did. So I'm not forced to stick some type of an abrasive brush down in there and scrape it out. We'll check the chamber here.
Okay. Wow. So what I'm seeing here is that the actual chemistry was able to hold on to the black powder, well, the powder, okay, so that you could wipe it off instead of having to scrub it off and having dust particles and dirt and everything.
Correct. So I guess the next thing that we have to clean is a little bit more wiping on the upper receiver. I know it's hard to see down in there. And if we're just doing like a hasty field strip type clean, so far I've done everything with nothing more than a heavy duty paper towel.
Yep. Oh, sorry for the focus on that, everybody. So we were able to actually clean this down with just a regular paper towel, a fairly good terry cloth type towel. And so we can see in here that the chamber area is fairly clean with just wiping with a towel. So we didn't have to have abrasives on there. And oops, sorry about that. And then the pin, maybe just a little bit of little extra scrubby that has to go on.
You always get that.
But that's no problem. And then this pin wiped out really clean, and the slide chamber. So I guess the last thing we could do is, let's just run for the heck of it. Is the barrel cool enough to be able to run a patch through it so we can, without having to use an abrasive, just to see how we can be able to wipe the patch clean?
It should be.
Okay. Now that's when we cleaned it. Now that was after scrubbing and cleaning it, but, you know. So what you're saying here is that you don't probably have to use the copper bottle brush in there then?
No, I would say no. So after this has been scrubbed and cleaned, here's what it produced.
Right.
After we went back through on our second test, after only 4 patches, we're looking better already.
Wow. So actually, no, seriously. So this was before, when we used Mobile One or whatever we're using in there.
Yes.
And then this here is what we're doing there. Right. Yeah. Because actually what we did is we actually wiped the barrel head with the Spartamax gun lube. And so that's what we used to clean it with originally after it was his first deal.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's good. It's you're done.
At this point, I'd call it a clean barrel.
So we were able to clean this in what, 2 to 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the components, and we're good to go. Well, thank you, Ed. Now, just tell us real quick while we look at what was your specialty of what you've done. Not as an endorsement, but you know, your life history.
I was a full-time firearms instructor for over 31 weapon systems at a combat schoolhouse. I worked on an Army base. And our yearly ammo allocation was 4.5 million rounds, so we definitely did some shooting, we did some training. We always used the traditional military-style CLP.
Okay.
In my experience, after firing 300 rounds with traditional cleaning supplies, this gun would have taken probably about half hour to 45 minutes to clean.
And we did this in about?
2 to 5 minutes.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you, Ed, for helping us as our armory specialist. And obviously we had Matthew. He worked us on our first thing. And that's about it. So we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot for the Spartamax field gun lubricant, firearms cleaning lube. We're done.